So let me provide you a couple of slides from some data, some consumer data. We conducted a survey this past year, in the second quarter of the year, of about 180 U.S. consumers, all online, with an oversample of about 500 seniors. And so we looked at some basic questions we asked are, give us a sense of the types of care models that you're interested in purchasing for the purposes of senior care and other sort of attractive opportunities. Now, this does reflect some of the slides we saw in the previous panel. You can see for yourself where the demand is. So emergency response, fall detection, and video conferencing are sort of the top three opportunities. Those are fairly basic technologies. This is not rocket science. So perhaps we need to step back a bit and look at implementing or serving some of the basic needs. Georgia, if you go forward. Here's a question we asked. We asked people, first of all, what is sort of the right price to pay on a monthly basis for home monitoring services where you have an external coach or care provider checking in on a senior? And we see, interestingly, that seniors and those that care for seniors, I think the quote was 55 million households or individuals in our country, those are right about the same there at 33, 34. So that's what the marketplace is saying. So the question is, what can we provide at that price point? On the second set of bars, here's a particularly interesting fact, I think, is that when we ask who's interested in these services, it's of course not the seniors themselves, but those that care for them where there's interest. So the point here, I think, is important in that the low-hanging fruit in health technologies is to go address the needs that we have, perhaps, to care for our seniors. There's a bit of guilt motivation. Many of us were not able to move our seniors in with us. We may be in a different city. We have busy lives. There is tremendous opportunity and tremendous willingness of consumers to pay out of pocket without any sort of subsidy from a health insurance provider to help lower our guilt and increase our ability to be available for our seniors. This is a retail opportunity. This is an opportunity we don't have to worry about healthcare models or insurance models. It's a matter of determining the right technologies to sell through retail, whether that be CVS, whether that be Home Depot, whether that be Best Buy. So that's an opportunity for, again, low-hanging fruit that we see as a near-term win to approach mass market. Now, looking at this last slide, I want to sum up what I think are in addition to what I just mentioned of being the retail-motivated opportunities for care, there are some drivers that are clearly taking place in our industry amongst service providers. So this is a perspective of the broadband and mobile TV, internet service providers. If we look at sort of the evolution of a couple of ecosystems, on the left-hand side, if we look at our TV and entertainment service providers, they've started with providing communications, email, and the like. We now have sophisticated entertainment solutions, Sling, VOD, and the like. On the other side, the mobile providers, which in some cases are the same, in some cases are not, have also followed a similar path of evolution that started with communications, now is entertainment, social networking, if you call that entertainment, follows that path. They are on a collision course. Our firm serves quite a number of service providers around the world, and I'm delighted to tell you that in the past 6 months, the interest in service providers in understanding and quantifying the opportunities for monitoring for the purposes of energy management, of premise security, as well as health monitoring are all coming to the forefront. Now, I don't think health monitoring will be the first of those deployed. The first things we're seeing deployed by service providers are premise monitoring with IP cameras. They hesitate to call that security. It can be an overlay to the existing security systems that we see in place. That will bring about lighting controls, access control, energy management, and it will also bring about health monitoring. I can't tell you which is first. I think health monitoring is probably third in the evolution, so I think that it'll be the next 18 to 36 months before we see some commercially widespread mass market solutions in health monitoring. But essentially the drivers are simple. The service providers must find additional revenue opportunities to leverage the existing investments they have in the IP network. They have equipment in your home, they have networks in your home. They're looking desperately for ways to increase the numbers of dollars that you will pay on a monthly basis, and they're the logical providers to do so. Secondly, once one does it, the others must follow. Parity amongst service providers is critical, so as soon as we see someone with some success, others will follow immediately, also driving the price down. And thirdly, the mobile app environment is an overlay to this. So as we have technologies that help us monitor our homes and control our homes and monitor the movements of our seniors, these will be leveraged across mobile platforms as well. So it's an opportunity driven by both your fixed line providers as well as your mobile providers. I find that encouraging and exciting. And so really, who are the winners? I'll conclude by saying the winners are certainly the service providers themselves as they increase our dependence upon them and revenues we pay them. It is also the network infrastructure companies, those that operate the network equipment, those that put the broadband modems and routers into our homes. And finally, anyone who's developing a hardware node, whether that be a sensor for movement or some sort of vital sign monitor, those parties are the winners. And I'm pleased to say that we do see some near-term movement in this space. George?
Thanks, Stuart. Next, we're going to get a little technical here with the folks from ZigBee. Speaking for us today is Ryan Malley, the Director of Technical Services for ZigBee. Ryan coordinates testing, certification, and interoperability with various ZigBee solutions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ryan.
Thank you. So we had a start that was a little bit about the market, and I'm here specifically to talk about a technology solution potential for use. This is, for those of you who don't know what ZigBee is a low-power wireless standard. It's very specifically designed for battery-operated operations, so in devices like this size and this type of thing, and when we're talking about sensors for movement and tracking, these are the types of applications that are very appropriate for the use of ZigBee technology. Now, some of the things on here you might be more familiar with, something like Wi-Fi, 802.11, and this is just kind of the map of the standards around here. Not to get too technical around this because I think it is more about the use case, as you already heard. But if you compare it to something like Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi is much more web-oriented, right? Nearly everyone has a wireless router in their home or certainly in their hotel room, et cetera, et cetera. The point of that is it's very high bandwidth. You can watch your video over it. On the other hand, it's not very mobile. It has to be plugged in, needs power all the time, so it's not an appropriate use for certain sensor applications. So if you look going further down the list here, you can see ZigBee as the range, lower data rate. You don't need to stream video over this to know that someone's in a room. You just have to say occupied or not, right? The temperature is this. Not very demanding in terms of bandwidth. And that allows you to run for years battery-operated devices. And in terms of the use case in elder care, for instance, you don't want to create a maintenance issue in any way, shape, or form. So ZigBee is an appropriate technology for that part of it. This is an overview of us. We are this global organization. We're roughly third split between North America, Asia, and Europe. And our member companies are working in a variety of technical fields, in particular healthcare is the top there. What the advantage of ZigBee versus, say, a Wi-Fi type of application is that we actually define the end devices of things. For instance, ZigBee Healthcare, there is a defined temperature-taking device. So if someone's going to build one and ship one, that temperature-taking device will actually work with other ZigBee Healthcare devices. You don't, in terms of competition, you don't have to worry about buying a complete solution for someone. If you like the Homedics one to work with your something else, you can do that, and that's what the standard is really valuable in that regard. we obviously have a bunch of